Hello, everyone. Today we're doing a parenting Let's Talk. I am not last minute saying that we are live. Why would that be a thing that I do? Don't yell at me, Fox. So, how's everybody doing? How are we doing? I normally wait a few minutes, but this is supposed to be a shorter Let's Talk than usual. So, if you two want to go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Okay, I'll go first, I guess. My name is Elizabeth Duivenvoorde, or Liz is fine. I'm a mother and author of dark fantasy. My kids are ages 2, 6, and 7. And yeah.
Nice. I'm Chris Calavera. I'm a dad. I'm a writer and all-around dork. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm currently working on my debut supernatural book thing filled with words.
Novel.
That thing.
And I am writing mom Samantha Nasset. This is my channel where I talk about writer things, parent things, and writer-parent things, which we are having a Let's Talk today all about. You can follow all things Sam by signing up to my newsletter in the website, which is linked down below, SamanthaLNasset.com. You can also follow me on social medias at SamanthaLNasset on Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook. If you want to help support the channel, I have a Ko-fi Coffee down below, linked as well. And I normally make videos on Wednesdays, but due to the never-ending string of migraine flare-ups, I am not going to be making videos this month, and possibly not through the end of April either. I'll still do live streams though, because I'm an outgoing extrovert and they're good for me. So, yes, that I think is everything that I need to mention on my channel. Do we want to dive right into it then? I've lost my list of questions.
No, I only like getting chosen first before I do any diving.
I dived right in. I don't like water shock. Oh, also, for those who don't know, Chris is my husband. Therefore, we have the same 3 children, which are ages 9, 7, and 6. And they will be 10, 8, and 7 by the end of the year.
You broke the illusion.
No.
You broke the illusion.
So you're literally listed in the description as my Lord husband.
Okay, how many people actually read?
You know, fair point. Fox does. Yes, like the stream. Book thing. All right, we're gonna say hi to chat. Stig said hi. Some parenting tips for the biggest baby in my life myself.
Well, Stig
everybody.
He needs to put the snacks on another shelf he can't get to somehow.
That's reference to a conversation I have no knowledge of. Also, Stig loves the new backdrop. I don't know if he's saying this to hurt my soul or not, because he knows I hate that wallpaper.
Okay, there's other things back here.
I can't see them. I just see the wallpaper glaring at me.
His head fell. I have to find it later.
Oh no. Book Phil, he's not wrong. He was in fact not wrong. Technically correct is the best kind. All right. Hello, fellow writer here. Hello, fellow writer.
Fellow writer. Parental.
I don't know if they're a parent. They didn't say that part.
Yeah, they did.
He reads the description, Chris, and thank the Lord, else he would have never known that you were my Lord husband. Yeah. All right, so There's a light. There is the light switch. It's in the most inconvenient place in the world, far away from any of the doors.
What? Okay.
It's
I mean, I
not
know.
near any. It's the only light switch to the garage, and it's not near either of the doors. So anyway, I have that we should introduce our parenting and writing experience. So I shall go
Alright.
first. I have almost a decade of personal parenting experience. I helped raise my siblings and cousins before that, and I have been writing for over a decade and a half. Seriously, career-wise, I started writing when I was like 15, trying to do the thing professionally. I've been telling stories since I was 5, though. So, what about you two?
Okay, I'll go first, I guess. So I'm 26 right now, and I became a parent when I was 18. So my oldest will be 8 at the end of this year in December. But before that, I was addressed as my brother's mini mom because my mom had broke her leg when I think it was like 2004 or 2008 or something. And so I kind of just like helped potty train, and just I was always just kind of there for my brother. He's 3 years younger than me. And then for writing, I started getting serious about writing in grade 12, which was like 2013. So recent, but not too recent, I guess. Yeah. I self-published a novella in 2015, and I was also in a couple of anthologies, and I've also self-published a couple of like really short comics. And yeah, that's about it. And I have a dark fantasy new adult novel coming out this October.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have to correct myself before you go, hun, because as Jenna, they did say fellow parent writer, and my dyslexia just did not allow me to see the word parent. So
I know they did. That's why I said yeah, they did.
I know, but then I said they didn't say that part, and Jenna was having your back. I'm just correcting myself. That was my fuck up, okay?
Well, it was over
Right, now
with.
go. And then Stephanie came back and also back to look, I'm not above saying I fucked up. So there you go. Now go ahead and introduce your stuff. Your stuff.
Okay, so I've been a dad for I guess 9 years and a half now. I guess I don't know. Our oldest is 9.5, and I've never dealt with children of any sort before we had our 3. So I'm the only child. I didn't like my family, and I wasn't going to touch any babies. I was not going to do anything important to help these little children and facilitate their life in any way, except mine, and that's where it stands. But I've been writing since I guess I don't actually remember how long it's been. I don't remember when I started, but somewhere when I was 13, 14, I think somewhere I wrote like fan fiction. But I always liked writing, and I always had made up my own little short stories and stuff. And I went to school for writing, so I've had some, I don't know what you would want to call it, but that's what I majored in. And I've been trying to get this uh, novel off the ground, and it's difficult because I have children. So, and that's what we're going to talk about. I have managed to actually finish the outline for it, and I have like a short story that's in that universe that's not ready for anybody's eyes, but it does exist.
Always ready for my eyes. He just won't let me.
Man, I sent it to you, dog.
I read it.
I sent the like for finished one, and like you can look at it when you get a chance, and it's been like 9 months. And Stig too.
It has not been long enough for a child to have incubated.
Stig Dirtle also I got no feedback.
We did have a lengthy conversation about that light switch. Baby, it's in a I'm trying to get my oldest to bring me the raspberry sweet tea, and he has apparently forgotten.
Raspberry beret.
Parent with 2 kids, 9 and 6. Welcome, welcome. Thank you. Sounds like an interesting conversation. The light switch one? Yes. A classroom full. Cool, cool. So, we did have somebody ask on Instagram. Thomas Kropp had asked, I hope I said your name right. How do you balance writing, a full-time job, and kiddos? So I am a housewife and mom, stay-at-home mom. Therefore, my job is the house and the children. So that's I don't really balance a full-time job on top of that. But my platform, I decide what 90% of the time the kids are the priority. Sometimes I will have to tell the kids that like mommy needs time to work, or Chris will just deal with the children while I work. My biggest thing is balancing writing, the kids, and dealing with a chronic illness, which is very different. So Elizabeth, you're also stay-at-home mom?
Yeah. I kind of struggle with the house cleaning though. So, I have 3 kids. My oldest is 7. He'll be 8 in December. My middle child just turned 6 today, and my youngest is 2.5. And so she's the only one at home right now because the other 2 are back in school. And but yeah, so I kind of struggle with being able to do all of the house cleaning because my 2-year-old is really go, 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 go. So
Toddlers can't leave them unattended.
Yeah, pretty much. And then whenever she's napping, that's kind of when I try to do a little bit of writing, and then I also try and do it at bedtime. But it's hard to do it at nighttime because my husband's around and he's really distracting. So kind of like nap time is the only time I get time to do anything. And it's either writing or like dishes, because that's the only thing I can actually get done during the day is dishes. And so, yeah, it's a constant struggle.
Okay, so the only one of us with a full-time job, perhaps you can answer the question better than we could.
Okay, well, there is no balance to it. There's just it's not possible. Not, I mean, maybe someone who's more put together than me can probably pull that off. Or somebody who doesn't need 8 hours of sleep. I'm not sure, but like it's hard. I mean, I've only started writing maybe within the past year. I mean, barely just doing any amount of writing, and the kids are finally old enough to actually like be independent and do their own thing. Because when they're younger, it's like with Elizabeth's 2-year-old, it's even less than it's no, it's like 99.9% of the time there's something that needs to be done, and anything like a semblance of a thought, I'm like, oh, maybe I could get some writing done. Nah, I don't think so. And it's hard. I mean, I work 12-hour shifts. I work 12, like I work 2 days, and then I'm off for 2 days, and I work 3 days, and some weird thing like that.
2233, 2233.
Well, it's not like that. It's like and it doesn't matter. And
Just try to help him. Artemis.
So with Stig, we were like, for the month of February, we'll write 10 minutes, and like I did come home after a 12-hour shift and wrote for 10 minutes, and like I said, I could do that because my kids are like actually old enough to go off and leave me alone for a little bit. Because when they're younger, they're like, hey, dad, and like even now, Gabriel's like, dad, I want a pizza rolls, and then I'm like, go get them. You're old enough to get them yourself, but he still comes and bugs you. So it's just one of them things. Yeah, I'm not. Look, all I'm saying, it gets easier when they get older. Yeah. But like our oldest is only just 9, and then it gets younger from there. And yeah, admittedly, he's the easiest one. But like, I mean, there's just we have 2 other ones who need something. There's also we do have 3. So like 3 kids. If you have 1 kid, I'm sure it's a little easier. But I mean, still, it's just there's always something to do as a parent, and to try to balance writing to it is just difficult. So like I did manage 10 minutes a day, and I got my outline done, and now I haven't done anything. And I know I could have. I could have started actually drafting, but I haven't.
You
But it's just
have an additional thing though, because your wife is chronically ill. There's like some days or some weeks where you basically just do all of the parenting. So you're the solo parent, and you're working the 12-hour shifts, and you're trying to do the dishes and everything. So
yeah. So they're trying to run the household and working and dealing with the kids and writing. Writing just is unfortunately on like the back burner here. So like it's hard, and like you can try to get 10 minutes in a day. I think that's feasible. But like there's days I didn't do it. I like legitimately forgot one day and I fell asleep. And then like shit. So I tried to do 20 minutes the next day. I do it because they're in remote learning. They're not remote. They're at home. So like
virtual
if
school.
if everything's fine and caught up at home, and I'm just like running laundry through or something, I can sit down and write. But
Yeah, it's
that's still hard because like you got to pay attention to these kids because like you can't give them an inch because they'll just be like, oh,
something
now
about
he's not paying attention, so I'm gonna play on my phone while I'm supposed to be in school. Nah, buddy.
I think the biggest thing is just acknowledging that is hard. It's difficult as fuck if you don't have any outside help. Like I know some people take their kids to daycare, or their in-laws are gracious enough to like watch them and stuff, and then they have time to write during that. But like that we don't. It's basically us 99% of the time. So you got to find the time when you have the time and when you have the energy. And if you don't, just like accept it and move on with your day and be kind. Just know they will be adults one day, and then you got time.
And like, all right, you can go like you have a significant other. Well, I mean, I work 12 hours a day. Sometimes I just want to sit down and watch 4 hours of Justice League, even though it's all in slow
We
mo.
don't have 4 hours to watch Justice League. We watched 2 hours, then you put the kids to bed, then we watched another half hour. We still haven't finished that movie.
And I
Uh,
mean, yeah. Sometimes like, all right, can you watch the kids while I write? That sounds good in some miracle fantasy land, but like it's just it's I don't think it's reality. Not
you
my
don't think it's
reality,
real
anyways.
most of the time. Right. You didn't ask for feedback, you dingus.
Yes, I
Steve.
did. I got the receipts.
That's between you two. One kid will be 2 in May. Yeah. Let me look. I personally feel you can get more writing done before they walk if you have energy, and then once they walk, you're done. Just retire now. No, I'm kidding.
The asterisk is if you have energy, because I know I sleep when the baby sleeps.
My uterus, I don't want it. Look, dude, yesterday I was talking to Chris about that. I was like, why can't they just take my uterus? I'm done. Just let me be free. I have no kids. Someone take away my testicles. I don't believe. That's not how that works. I am a parent of 4, 19, 13, 11, and 5. Oh, that's pretty spread out. I struggle with housekeeping with no kids, so kudos to parents for managing it all. Oh, thank you. I just told my mom I want to publish today. We're making a plan on how to get it done. Does anyone have any advice to make this work? I'm a little overwhelmed. So we're not going to handle this question today because today we're talking primarily about parenting and writing. So we're going to try to stick to that for the moment. But if anyone in chat has advice, feel free.
That just seems more difficult to answer. Like I don't know where to start
Well, Jenna looks like she
dissecting that.
started.
Yeah, I
Well,
think Jenna handled the.
Yeah.
well, she's
Yeah,
good
I
at
was
it.
kind of glancing
Yeah.
over the chat a bit.
Yeah, unless you have someone who can help you / take over childcare. It's yeah, like I took a self-imposed hiatus until our youngest was in preschool. So I work 12-hour days and take care of my kids on some work nights and my days off. I'm a single parent, divorced. Kudos to you for getting it done, sir.
Yeah, that's just it's hard. 12-hour days, and try to spend time with the kids. You don't want to miss the early. You don't want to miss anything, to be honest. But like the early years go by quick.
Yeah, and you
So
can't get
like
them back.
No.
so like it's just one of them things. It's like you have to sacrifice something, but you shouldn't sacrifice your kids.
Once they walk, you're done. It's true though. 'Cause look, let me tell you, Stig. Sometimes I would, be in my bedroom trying to read or something, and I'd hear chaos from the boys chasing each other when they were toddlers, and that was fine. And then it would be silent, but I wouldn't like realize it was silent until it was too late. And then I walk into my kitchen, and there's just flour all over the floor or sugar, and you're like, "How did you even reach it? You're two. What?" Just that they work magic.
And they don't follow ocean compliances, so like they'll just stack shit to get the shit.
Yes. Somebody else once they're walking here. Yes, it's just oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was one reason why when I think it was when I was pregnant with my youngest and my middle child was getting ready to go to school, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be so great because the baby will be like a baby, so it can't like distract me too much from writing because it'll be napping a bunch. And then of course she was just awake all the time when she actually came, and he was finally off at school. And then I had this baby who just didn't want to sleep, and I was like, okay, so no writing for me.
Yeah, I remember one time she was pregnant with her first child, and she like messaged me and she's like, "Oh, how did you get writing done when they were an infant?" And I was like, "I didn't." And she got kind of huffy. I don't think she appreciated my answer because she was like, "Well, I'm pregnant and I'm really tired, so I'm just gonna sleep now and I'll write when the baby's an infant." And I'm like, "You will have more luck writing while you're pregnant before the baby gets here." And then like after she had the baby, she would come back in, that server I was in, and then she'd talk about how like she never has time for writing anymore, and she's always exhausted, and it's like it's as if someone with more experience forewarned you this would happen. If only somebody had said this. I'm a petty bitch sometimes. Everybody knows this.
Yeah, with my first so my first, he was in the hospital, like we talked about on my channel like an hour ago. But so he was in the hospital throughout the first couple months after he was born because he had some open heart surgeries and stuff. And so I got a lot of writing done during that time. And so when I had my second and my third, I had this mentality where it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to get so much writing done the first couple months after I have the baby. And then that just didn't happen because they obviously weren't as tired as a child with a heart problem, and they weren't in the hospital. So it's not like they were on drugs to help them sleep and I could just do writing on the side. It didn't work. And so like I was in the wrong headspace. And so when the
you
kids
had a
came, it's like, yeah.
You had a false sense of security because of
Yeah.
that.
And it was funny because
funny.
it happened twice, and I was just like, oh yeah, the first was like this, and then the second one happened. And then when the third was coming, I was like, oh yeah, my first was like this. And I was like totally forgetting that the second that didn't happen.
I was the oldest of 12, and I helped raise quite a few of them, so like I had no illusions whatsoever. Like I was the teenage niece/nephew who like kept the baby so that my aunt or whoever could get sleep. So I was like, no, I know what little demon spawns you are. I will love you so much, but also I will never sleep again. Except
Yeah, I read something that said like that during the first 2 years of or during the first 2 years of a child's life, a parent loses like a certain amount of sleep. And then I like did all the math, and I was like, oh my god, I lost like a year of sleep just like because I had my first two 15 months apart. And I was like, oh man, during like just that time of having the two, I lost like a year of sleep or something. And my friend's like, yeah, I don't feel sorry for you. I was like, thanks.
for me because I didn't sleep much before. I sleep more now than I did before I had kids. Wait until OSHA gets a hold of OSHA. The children are too crafty. OSHA will get there, and the children will have undone everything they did, and they're like, we don't know what they're talking about. I think the best piece of advice was from one of Sam's early videos. I don't feel guilty about not having time if the time wasn't there to begin with. Helped a lot. Yes, that's either in my, I think, infants versus toddlers or toddlers versus kids videos, which were the first parenting videos I did. But yes, I stand by that, because that's the thing. A lot of parents deal with parent guilt, and it's like they think that they need to get 8,000 things done in the day, and if you get 7,999 things done, that one thing you didn't get done, which most of the time would be writing, you're like, it makes you feel like the other 7,999 things didn't get done, and it's like, no, there's just not enough time in the day to do everything. So yes, I concur. I assume you're talking about that one person. Soon they'll be teenagers, and yo, Michael enters the double digits this year, so he will officially be a preteen.
Going through moods, and
he got his first fictional crush now. We're very proud.
And then he'll need deodorant. Can't have him stinking up.
They already need deodorant.
Yeah, that's fair.
Children are smelly. All right, when the baby is here. Yeah. You're allowed to be. my chat's so supportive. Be a petty bitch, Sam. Yes, I love you all too. My daughter still has trouble sleeping even now sometimes. I've given up on any delusion of morning work session. So for parents who can't sleep train their kids, don't feel bad about it. Sleep training, like I recently read an article that reinforces kind of what I already knew. I always love reading things that validate information I already had. And it's basically, sleep training came about during the first industrial revolution because moms started working. And then like during the second industrial revolution, it became even more normalized again because both parents were working. So it's not necessarily natural for every child. So like if your kid's not sleeping through the night before they're 3 or 4, it's fine. Kids, they need to sleep when they're tired. Don't worry too much about it. Like if your kid can sleep through the night, because like our kids didn't sleep through the night per se, but they did get like 10 hours of sleep at once. So like they slept through their sleep time, and their pediatrician reassured me. She was like, it's fine. It doesn't matter when they get sleep so much as that they get sleep. My children were also apparently deathly allergic to cribs. I would like get them sound asleep, that deep sleep. They've been sleeping for like 40 minutes at least, right? So they're like dead to the world. And then I would go to put them down on the crib. And the second that Michael was in on his back position, that boy was awake like that. And I'm like, how? Why? So like our children did not sleep in cribs. We tried, but nope, they refused. And like I said, their pediatricians were just like, as long as they're getting sleep, that's all that matters.
Well, I mean, Roxanne now still doesn't. She'll come downstairs.
Sometimes.
Come sleep with us.
I'd say like 3 days out of 7, she'll come downstairs in the middle of the night. She's 6, so. And her pediatrician is like, yeah, it's still fine. We'll worry about it if she's like, when she's a little older. The boys, they like crawl up and they just sleep on the top bunk together.
Oh.
Like which, for the record, if you do sleep train and you can sleep train and it works for you, kudos to you. Totally good. I'm not like dissing it. I'm just saying if you can't, don't feel bad. I remember crawling out of a crib onto the floor and crawling out to the living room. My mom put me back and crawled right back out again.
Right? Tickled that shit.
So I actually, like, I co-slept with my parents until I was about 6 or 7. And the reason I stopped was because they had my sisters and the bed was crowded. And I was like, I'm out. Too many people here. My kids are 12, 10, and 8, and I've given up writing during the day. No, Stephanie. My dreams of writing. My little girl helps out in the kitchen and my son helps in the vacuuming, so I'm happy they help their daddy out even though I don't get much writing done. Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite things is like cleaning time. Now the kids clean their own rooms and then I also have them help me clean the living room. And the last time I was like, I need the table cleaned off. We'll do it in a little bit. mommy's got to like finish washing her face and everything. And I came out and they already had half the table done. And I was like, tear.
I know. I love it when the kids do stuff like that. Like they do stuff that you don't expect. Like there was this one time I was like, oh, we have to clean up the living room in a bit because so-and-so's coming over, and they always freak out whenever they see the house is a mess because apparently I don't do enough cleaning. But so I like went to the bathroom and then they already had like most of the living room cleaned because it was just like random little bits of like laundry on the floor or like a bunch of their toys. So they were like running their toys up and down. Like they would pick up all their toys, put it on the table, like the table in the middle of the room, like the coffee table or whatever it's called. And then they would do trips where they would go upstairs, grab a bucket, bring it down, put a bunch of toys in it, and then bring the bucket up and then just dump it on the floor in their bedroom because people don't look in their bedroom. And so they would just keep doing that. And like, so one of them would be doing that, and the other would be like grabbing arms full of like clothes and running it to the washer and just dumping it all in the washer machine and stuff. Oh my gosh, it was so cute. I like nearly cried. I was so happy. And then my middle child, he loves putting the groceries away, like just the canned stuff. So he would put all of that.
Child.
Yeah, so he'll like put it all away, and I'll be like, "Oh, Timmy, that's the oldest." I'm like, "Oh, do you want to help?" And he's like, looking. He's like, "No," and just goes and does his own thing. And I'm like, "Oh, well, at least I got one who wants to help." And there'll even be times where I'm like, "Oh no, I got it. Don't worry about it." And he's like, "No, I'm gonna do this." And so he just goes and does it anyway. And I'm like, "Okay, have fun."
Be aggressive about the chores they want to do. Like, no, mom, I'm doing it. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
fine, you do it.
It's like, nah, I cleaned enough. Y'all just keep messing it up.
I can buy myself time by taking turns with my 5-year-old writing 5-minute sprints on the computer. He loves typing. Aw, I love that. That's adorable. I once took all of my dirty dishes in an IKEA bag and put it in a cupboard with my mom's coat because I didn't want to do them. I don't have dirty dishes, Mom, I swear. They're all clean.
Just throws them out the window.
Okay, so what's your publishing schedule like? What is your plan? So, like, I just want to have my outline finished by the end of the year and then see how drafting goes. Since the kids will be back in traditional school, I'll have more time to write, theoretically.
Bro, I want to get my first draft done this year, but it's almost April and I haven't done shit. So we'll see where it goes.
I'm working on developmental edits right now, and then in June, July-ish, I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of like line edits and copy edits and stuff, and then proofreading in August, September, and then self-publish in October. So
damn, you
yeah, I'm gonna be so stressed, but it's gonna get done.
Awesome. So do you ever plan on letting your kids read your writing? I do. They can read my writing whenever they're old enough to read the content of which I write. But I very much look forward to them reading it. Curious as to what they will say, how they may shade me.
shade you hard. I mean, they can. I'm not gonna make them read it, but they can.
No, I'm not gonna force them.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat. Whenever they're old enough to read it. Like I have a kids book out right now, and so they have that on their bookshelf for whenever they want to read it, if they want to read it. When I first put it there, they were like so excited and they read it and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is mommy's book." And then after that, they haven't really touched it. No, that's a lie. My 2-year-old took it out and ripped all the pages out, so then I had to replace it with a new copy. But other than that, they haven't touched it since. But yeah, so because the one in October is going to be like an adult, kind of like romance, probably not till they're old enough to read that.
Right, it's just one of them things. Like, I mean, they can, but I'm not writing a kid's book, so there's like no.
Yeah.
When they get older, if they're like, oh, I'm gonna read my mom's smutty book, and they're like, damn, I don't want to hear this kind of shit. I don't know, man.
Well, I know that. Yeah, I know that some parents like excuse me, some writers in general, they either don't want their parents to read what they write or they don't want their kids to read what they write. And like I'm good on both sides. Like my parents have already read my novels and my writing, so
I'm a little nervous about my grandma reading it because she's like so pumped to read it, and I'm like, okay, grandma, it's got like some sex and stuff in it, and she's just like, oh yeah, that's fine. I read that all the time. I'm like, whoa, grandma, calm down.
That reminds me of my grandma.
No,
My grandmother's the one who introduced me to Harley Quinns. So Harley Quinn romances.
gives it back to you. This was tame. I think you said there was gonna be some sex in it.
Right. That would so be my grandma. Samantha, you said, child, let me send you some books. Once they were old enough, they can read if they want. Yes. Too much information. Here's here's a good one, as if I wasn't the one who made the thing. How do you decide how much of your kids go onto your platform, or do you just keep them separate? Like I decide, like my whole platform is being a writing mom, but it doesn't actually revolve around the kids. It just revolves around me being a mom and how that affects me, though I do talk about them, and I will post pictures and stuff with them. I always show them the pictures I'm going to post, though, so I don't post anything that they don't want posted. So what about you two?
I don't post any pictures on my kids.
Yeah, my husband doesn't want them on YouTube, so I don't put anything of them on. That's a lie. There's one video of them with an unboxing with me on YouTube. Other than that, there's nothing of them on YouTube. So I just try and like limit that. On my Instagram, I'll post pictures of them if it's relevant, like if it's their birthday or if we're doing something. I post a lot more of them kind of on there because it's kind of like my personal / business Instagram. So like it's mostly writing stuff, but it's also like I'm a mom, so I do that. But then on like pretty much like Facebook, I don't post anything of them. It's all book stuff, and then
on my Instagram posts to all the things because I'm a lazy hoe. Although I do have a personal Facebook and then my author page. So that's there's that distinction.
Yeah, I have the same. Yeah.
Steak, I occasionally dab with Michael on stream, so that's nice. Yes, Michael, he's our little ham. He likes to do the things. If I'm recording and he's awake or something, he'll come invade for a little bit. They don't know it yet, but we have we've ordered some Tokyo treat boxes, and I can't wait for them to come in because I will have we're gonna do it with the kids, so the kids will get to taste all of the snacks and stuff too.
What? No, they can't have snacks.
We've already discussed it.
They're not
Sir,
gonna
don't act like this is new.
They're not gonna enjoy the KFC potato chips.
Okay, there's a whole Pringles thing of them.
I don't want.
All right. Thomas also doesn't post anything about the kids. I had there was a fellow writing mom who I used to be CPs with, and when we talked about starting our platforms, she was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to start out talking about my kids or anything because I want my platform to be really professional." And I was just like, does that mean that you think that me starting out talking about my kids is unprofessional? Because that is the exact stigma I am planning to fight against here. Like, if you're a parent, it affects everything. So
yeah, I find it's a personal balance, not so much as like an overall balance, you know?
Yeah.
You just gotta find what works well for you and like your family and stuff.
Yes.
Right. I agree.
I'm looking over the talking points. My brain decided to forget how to read, though. Okay, how do you balance your projects, let alone with kids? So, like, I have multiple projects. I have short stories and my novel. I focus, I go back and forth between focusing on my short stories or focusing on my novel, depending on the circumstances. Like scripting takes precedence. If I don't have my scripts for the month, those go first because I need my scripts in order to, record my videos. I can't record my videos if I have no scripts, but if I have like 10 scripts done, then the videos can get done whenever. And so then since I do my short stories like I do my novels, so in phases, when I send a short story to a critique partner, I'll go back to working on my novel. And then when I send my short stories to betas, I go back to working on my novel. So I guess short stories also take semi-priority over my novel, just because I'm trying to get like writing examples and stuff up on my site. I just have one little ghost story right now. What about you?
I don't even know how you balance projects without children. Like, I'm just working on one fucking thing, man. I'm not balancing anything except life. And we all know how that goes. Terribly.
Saw you married a Virgo. I
That
found that
don't fucking help.
rude.
If I needed balance, I needed a Libra, and we produced one, so that's all that matters.
That's a falsehood.
His motherfucking sign is a damn scale. It better come in use.
Yeah, but they're very indecisive. Anyway,
yeah, it doesn't happen. I try to like set aside writing time, and so like I only really get a lot done if like my youngest is down for a nap, and if my older two are home, I'll be like, hey, mommy's gonna go write, you can have a snack if you're hungry, have a juice box if you're thirsty, kind of thing. And then I'll like go and try to write, and that's kind of like roughly how I balance the parenting side. Like, be like, okay, I'm gonna do this for this long, and then I try to do it. For balancing projects, it's normally whatever. If I have a deadline that I set for myself, obviously, if I have a deadline coming up, I'll be like, okay, I have to focus on this. And if I get bored of that, then I'll jump to another project that I care about. But if I don't really like want to work on that project, then I don't. I don't know. I have so many projects, and it just kind of like all over the place.
So you just jump around to whatever holds your current interest.
Yeah, like right now, so it's obviously my my dark fantasy that's coming out this year. So that's kind of like high priority for the writing side. And so like if that's with an editor or a beta reader or something, then I'll work on my like next project that I want to come out. And if that isn't holding my attention, then I'll work on like a short story or something, because I don't want to start another project and then kind of derail everything just because the other two are such big projects. Yeah, but then if I can't write and I'm trying to like find time to write, and like the kids are being overbearing and like constantly harassing me, then it's not going to happen.
As children do.
I know. That's why I'm always like, okay, I'm going to go do this for this amount of time until daddy gets home or whatever. And if you're hungry, eat. If you're thirsty, drink. Because that's always what they bug me for. It's like, mommy, I'm hungry. Okay, go have a snack.
I have a snack cabinet now for that. Took me a decade, but it is set up with snacks and little juices and stuff. So
yeah, we have like a cupboard, and it's just all the kids' snacks, and they go through it so fast. And it's just like, how did you eat like an entire box of crackers in one day? And it's like, well, there's two of us. And I'm like, that's still a lot of crackers. It's only been like 20 minutes.
I don't know. I have a high metabolism, so the amount of things that get eaten quickly never phases me.
Yeah.
And kids,
my husband and I are the same way. We'll eat like a whole bunch, and then be like, where did it go? And then when the kids do it, we're like, what happened? Like, where did all the food go?
That's like,
go ahead.
That's like when you eat all the hummus.
Look, I have a snacking problem. You know, you cannot leave anything within my hand.
I didn't leave it in your hand reach. You were just grabbing it and eating it anyway. What you mean?
What you mean I couldn't reach it? If I couldn't reach it, I couldn't eat it.
Then stop it.
How is it unprofessional? No, they their thing was she felt it was unprofessional to talk about kids on her writing platform because it was supposed to be a writing platform. And I'm like, but that's a stigma. It's a stigma that it's unprofessional to talk about your children or like chronic illness or anything that gets in the way of your profession. But it's like, but literally, these are things that affect the day to day. So it shouldn't be considered unprofessional, in my opinion, to speak about these things on my platform. So that's why I'm doing the thing.
I agree.
Don't most adults have kids? I'm the most professional person alive. Yes. Since my vlog is writing in life, little one appears, but that's it on my public platform. I set up a private Insta for pictures of her to share. My thing with like, if my family and friends want pictures, text me. I'll send you pictures. Otherwise, not my problem. I'm busy. Is this where we learn Jenna has 5 kids? Plot twist, they're all puppies.
Oh.
Yes. All children eat a lot. Well, okay.
Yes.
90% of children eat a lot because they're growing and they need all the things in order to grow.
Need all the soda, all the crackers.
It always scares me when like they go through those stages or those like small bursts of time where they don't want to eat anything.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yesterday you ate like so much, and then for 2 or 3 days straight they're just like, I'm not hungry. I'm like, please eat, please, I beg
like,
you.
are you just storing it for later, you squirrel?
And then they grow and then they're like, I'm hungry again. I'm like, oh, thank God, just don't eat everything, please. Like it's just I don't even know.
About 180 kind of pizza rolls Saturday, and half of it's gone. Half, like
that's all I want to eat right now.
76 of them, I guess. I don't know.
This morning, I was like, we have donuts. You have donuts for breakfast. Our youngest was like, yeah, I want donuts. And then she like ate 2 of them. And then she realized that her brothers were eating pizza rolls. And she's like, I want pizza rolls like them. And I'm like, why? We're already halfway through breakfast.
Yeah, so we do the thing where it's like you can have cake for breakfast on your birthday. And whenever I mention that to like non-parents, they're like, "Oh, why would you do that?" And I'm like, "It's their birthday. Give them cake." Like,
let them have cake.
Yeah.
When we go out to restaurants and stuff, if they like get ice cream for dessert, like at Culver's, I just let them eat their ice cream first. And people are like, "But why?" I'm like, "'Cause it gonna melt. Nobody wants to eat it melted."
Nope.
I mean,
yes, children are like lizards with eating sometimes. One ritualistic gorging, and they're good for a while.
It's like you either let them have a little bit of cake, or they're going to be 30 years old, sitting in front of their apartment with a big tub of ice cream, eating it all the way down because they don't want to bring it inside because then they'll feel like they'll be in trouble.
We had a roommate who had very, very unhealthy relationship with food, and he blames the fact that he was not allowed sugar or any sweets when he was a kid. So, but his friends would share candy with him, and so like now he feels guilty, but he's also mildly addicted to sugar.
Like scrounge up $1 and like, hey, buy me a soda, and like in the alleyway, like told 2 liters. Just
that's terrible.
This morning, my daughter didn't want to eat her breakfast, and I tried giving her like toast and cereal and like the whole 9 yards, and she just didn't want it. And so then we were sitting in the living room, and she's just sitting there all grumpy on the couch watching Paw Patrol. And I bring in a thing of Oreos, and she's like right there. I took one bite of my Oreo, and she ripped it out of my hand and ate the rest of it. I'm like, all right, Oreos for breakfast. Here you go. And then my mom stopped in, and she's like, is your daughter eating Oreos? Has she had anything for breakfast? I'm like, that is her breakfast. She's like, no, it's not. I'm like, yep, it's an Oreo for breakfast kind of day.
Hey man, cereal's just as bad as Oreos. Just let her have the
right?
Oreos.
Literally.
Yeah, and we have like the cereal with like, it's kind of like Lucky Charms, but it's the off-brand. So there's no way that that's healthier than.
Hell no.
No, and she only eats the marshmallows. So like, She's
Oh my God.
fine.
Let me tell you, there was one time the children stole a box of Lucky Charms, right? And they would pour a bowl of it, eat all the marshmallows out, get a different bowl, pour the bowl, and then they poured the cereal back in the box. So like all the marshmallows were gone. And like Chris went to pour a bowl of Lucky Charms. He's like, "Where's all the marshmallows?" And I'm like, "The children did a thing. So there's no more marshmallows. As long as like they eat,
Yeah.
then they eat. They'll go through phases. Like my mom said that when I was younger, for a year to a year and a half, I forget which, I ate nothing but macaroni and cheese. And the doctor was like, "No, it's fine as long as she's eating."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like as long as they eat, they eat. Our middle one is super like picky and moody about what he eats right now. So we just have a rule that if you don't want to eat dinner, you have to make food yourself. That's it. So if you don't like, or it's not that they don't like dinner, because we'll make dinners that we know he likes, but he's just not in the mood for them. So he'll say he doesn't like it. And it's like, well, then you make your own pizza rolls or you make your own Hot Pocket. It's like, we don't care. We're just not doing the extra work. We made you dinner.
Yeah. Yeah. My middle one kind of does that sometimes where he'll be like, "Oh, I don't like this." And I'm like, "You love it. It's pizza or something. I don't know." And he's like, "I don't want it." I'm like, "Fine. Find something else. I'm not making anything else. I made this. That's it." And he's like, "Okay." So he'll like go to the snack cupboard and rummage and he's like, "I'm going to eat the pizza." I'm like, "That's a good idea." Because he can't cook yet, right? Because he's only like 6 now. So
I can use the
Right.
microwave at 6. Well,
he can't reach it. It's really high. We're tall.
I was,
So
I
it's
was
like
about to
way,
say,
way
I'm
up
not
there.
short. Yeah, I thought about that, and I was like, wait, no, our 6-year-old's too short for it. I was thinking of the other ages. Fred and I sometimes go to a restaurant to have a banana split, and after we're done, we end up hungry and have dinner too there. Oh, a fun thing about desserts is that is it the sugar? Something in dessert will actually make you hungry, which
It's
is
the
why,
sugar. I
yeah.
don't know if it makes you hungry, but like the thing I remember reading was like you eat dinner and you feel stuff, and then like the idea of having dessert, like your stomach's like, oh, sugar, and it just opens up. Nah, we
We
have
got
room.
room for sugar.
Yeah, my grandpa used to say that there's always room for Jello, just because that was like his favorite dessert.
And that's just
And so he
water
would
anyway.
eat so much, and then
Sugar water.
he'd be like, "Oh, I'm full." My grandma would be like, "You want Jello?" And he's like, "Ah, there's always room for Jello." And so like that was just his like mantra with life.
Like yesterday, I ate a quarter or a third of a piece of a cinnamon roll. And I'm like, I think I could eat the rest of it, and then I ate the rest of it. And that's my TED talk. It was a big cinnamon roll. It was like this big. But that reminds me, with the whole cereal and cookies thing, I saw a thing. I don't know how true this is. I really don't. But it was like on TikTok, there's a trend of eating cookies for breakfast. Like you put the cookies in a bowl and you put milk over it. And then there was a picture of a Cookie Crisp wolf dog person, and you're like, y'all don't remember me? Because his
I
whole
thought it
fucking
said,
thing
"Am
was
I a joke to you?"
I can't remember, but it was like there was a whole fucking box of cereal
Am
that
I a joke?
literally was just cookies for fucking breakfast.
Yeah.
Okay, so my daughter is small for her age and she's a nibbler. We actually stopped going to the infant nutritionist because she would make snide comments about her not normal growth and I'd just get upset. I would recommend just seeing a different nutritionist because like I had weight issues until I was 28 or something. I was always below weight. And like Michael seems to be following my pattern of being underweight. However, his pediatrician just keeps track and makes sure that he's still growing. So as long as he's growing, she's not too concerned about it. But she says that if he stops growing or anything, then we might have to discuss things. So I would that while there are a lot of nutritionists and pediatricians who will be judgmental about it and stuff. Lord knows I had enough of them. Just eat more. Why don't you eat more, motherfucker? But anyway, there are good ones out there, and so I would just recommend looking for one until you find a good one who can help keep an eye on it, because the average is an average for a reason. There are always going to be people and kids on the outside of the average, but you definitely want to make sure that you're, have all the help and stuff to make sure that everything's going right.
Yeah. My second, so he was a really big baby. Well, all three were really big babies, but he was like 11 and a half pounds at birth, kind of big baby. And so, like, anytime we would go to the doctor, he would be like, "Oh, he's really overweight." And I'm like, "No, he's just big." Like, and then we would go to the pediatrician and she's like, "Oh, he's fine. He was born at this weight. He's gained this much. He's fine. He's like on track for his size, right?" And but my family doctor was just like, "No, man, this kid needs to go on a diet." I'm like, "I'm not putting my like 2-day-old on a diet. No."
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Well, like,
What?
not a eat less diet, but I also want to make sure that everyone knows diet is just what you eat. It's not necessarily. I'm saying this because I am aware I have an audience. So yeah, diets in general are not a bad thing. It's just going on, putting a 2-year-old on a weight loss diet is mostly concerning for me. Yeah, definitely like pediatricians and nutritionists who, I feel you want that medical professional who will keep track of your kid's health with you, because then if something is concerning or something does come up, they have that knowledge and they have that history and they've, been paying attention to your kid with you. So it's a higher chance that they'll be a good advocate for them and that they'll help you, keep your kid healthy. But I definitely don't think you should stick with one that you're not comfortable with or that you think is doing not the best. Definitely find a good one.
For sure. Yeah.
I would take vacation days just so Fred and I could try out. It's just my dream, man. That's my dream. Dude, that would be my high adventure. Yeah, see, like, kids just go through weird eating phases. It's just a thing. Every time, like, their pediatrician sees them, she's like, "Are they still eating good? What kind of things are they eating?" And then she, like, looks at their calves, and she's like, "Oh, well, your kids are active." And I'm like, "What are you saying about their calf muscles?" Never fails to amuse me. The jealous
it's weird. It's weird when you look at like the difference between children too, because like, so my oldest, he's like so scrawny, and we're like, I get genuinely concerned when he doesn't eat because like you can see his bones, like he's just so skinny, it scares me. But the doctor's like, no, he's fine. Like the pediatrician's just, nah, he's fine, he's eating, right? And then like my second, he used to be really chunky, but now he's like kind of built like a football player, like he's just really muscly. And it's weird for like a 6-year-old. Like he's not overly muscular,
I
but
get that. It's like
he's like healthy, right? And then like my 2-year-old right now is really chunky and she's so picky, and I'm just like, I don't understand. I really don't.
To be kind of chubby at 2, though. They're like,
I know,
not super chubby, but like, well,
they go through the phases, right? Where like they eat a lot and they get kind of chubby, and then they grow, and then they're less chubby, and then
exactly.
Yeah. But it's just like it's so weird, like just looking from child to child, and you're just like, why are you all so different?
It's like they're individuals.
Yeah, I know, but like you all eat the same food.
Like I am the small one. I'm the oldest, but I'm the small one. Both of we all had very different dietary needs and body types. So for me, I'm just like, that's just how children are. For the only child over there, he's just like, why? But he also, one of my favorite things is when they were younger and they would get that pre-growth spurt chub, and then like, I don't know, Chris was just super cute during that time because he'd be like, "Look at them, they're so chubby. Look at the little tummy."
Don't talk to me like I'm doing that.
But you do it. It's cute.
You ain't gotta make fun of me like that, though.
I'm not making fun of you.
Yeah, you was.
Sir, I was not. That's how you talk. All right. So your feelings on book baby versus real baby.
What's that supposed to mean? Like,
I added this on here because somebody asked me a question that I felt was actually very rude, whether or not they were joking, which I'm like pretty confident that they were joking, but it's still rude either way. And they were like, do you ever look at your book baby versus your real baby and think, oh, I definitely prefer you? And I'm like, yes, my kids, 110,000% my children. What kind of, and it's just like, but it also prompted another thing, because a lot of usually childless authors will be like, oh, my book baby, it's so precious, and then they compare like making a book and publishing it to being a parent of a baby. And so I wanted everybody's thoughts on that. I'll give my thoughts on that after I have things to
I mean, I don't even know how to begin dissecting a question that fucking stupid. All right, I mean, you can be proud of your own accomplishment, but like, once it's out there, you're like, okay, well, I don't know. Look, man, it's a fucking human being. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what you're supposed to be like. Oh, man, fuck them. I got this book I wrote. It don't need to be fed. It don't need to be changed. It's not going to college unless someone's going to take it to be studied for, and that ain't going to happen. So,
it might, you never know. My dark fantasy thing.
Yeah, I don't know, like your literal child versus a book. Like, I understand that like there's a lot of like sweat and tears and love and all that stuff that goes into like writing a book and stuff, and it's a long process, but like the child is part of you, like.
But the book's part of you.
Yeah, but once you publish that, it's everyone else's. Like, it's not really yours anymore. But like, that kid's gonna be yours till like you're both dead, I guess. I don't know. Like,
theoretically, we die first. So until then,
hopefully, yes, I would hope. I don't want to outlive my children. But like, I don't know. That's just so weird. I've never really understood the whole like book baby thing. Like, I understand that you love your book and that like it's taken so much time and energy and effort, but like, I don't know. It's just weird. I think. I don't know.
I don't mind when people say it's my book baby, because there is a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that go into it, and it's fine. It's, one can feel it is the efforts of years of labor. I'm like, okay, cool, your book baby. That's fine. My only issue is when they start comparing it to actual babies, and I'm like, these are not the same. If I'm tired of my book, or if I'm just like done working at it or something, I put it away, out of sight, out of mind. I cannot put my child away. That's not how they work.
Just like, okay, kid, bye. I'll see you in a month. I'm done with you right now.
I'm done with you. I need a break. I'll see you in 2 weeks.
It's not you. It's me.
Yep.
Yep.
Mommy's just tired now. Oh, no, I can't. So I was just like I said, I added it on here because a lot of people will make those jokes, or they will say those comments literally thinking that it's fine. And like, if parents get upset, or if parents fight back, or if we say anything, we're being sensitive. We're being the rude ones. And it's like, no, you literally just compared an inanimate object to a human being that we are raising.
Yeah,
so
and like, writing is hard, but like, have you ever been through like a high risk pregnancy, or like having to push a watermelon out through like a tiny pinhole? Like, it is so much harder. And like, oh,
well, even like, because for dads too, like, they don't have to do that part.
Yeah,
but
they're still there for it.
Yeah, like, he's been up with them teething and stuff, and takes care of them. So it's like, I wanted to add it in here because, as I said earlier in the stream, I can be a petty bitch, and I'm like, you know what? Fine. You wanted to ask? You asked.
Yep.
Stop exposing me. I'm a mean square. Listen, of the two of us, he's the sentimental parent. I'm the disciplinarian. That's how it works.
No.
What the fuck kind of question is that? A fucked up one. That's right. Confused math symbols. It's not a competition. What even is that comparison? Imagine thinking the words you wrote were on par with a human life. I prefer Thomas. My children over writing any day, hands down. Yeah, I'm really having parenting block today. Can it say oh my god.
Just send them off to their grandparents. I'll see you in like a year. Have fun.
Oh,
Oh my god.
Oh
I'm
man.
sorry. I'm trying to compose myself now. Hey, did we hit? I think we hit everything. Wait, here's some. I hate when it does that. I click it and it goes back down. Okay, Elizabeth and I kind of is. Oh, Elizabeth and I also did an hour stream on her channel, which is linked down below if anybody would like to go watch that.
go watch it.
So we will ask Chris these questions. Elizabeth and I already answered them a bit, but does being a parent influence how or what you write? Like, there is a parent who cannot write child deaths now. Excuse me.
I'm gonna
Elizabeth
answer this.
and I were both like, no.
I'm gonna answer it. Yes, but not like in that example. It's not like, oh, I can't write kids dying or I can't write this because of my children. No, I'm just how it influences me is that my supernatural urban fantasy thing is based off my kids. So like I have two brothers and I have the youngest sister. Loosely, yes. They're not like they're not
More
dumb.
inspired by than
Yes,
based on.
they're not dumb. It's just like, there's always a thing about there's always things in the media I consume, and it's always about brotherhood and sisterhood. But there's not a lot of stuff that deals with like just brothers
Mixed
and sisters. There's like the Winchester brothers, the Ninja Turtle. They're all brothers, and then the Charm sisters. They have their own sisterhood thing, but there's never like, oh, this is my brother and I'm his sister, and we're gonna fuck some shit up. There's not a lot. I'm not saying there isn't any, because I'm sure there is, but I just wanted to put something out there for that kind of stuff. But that's kind of like where it kind of ends. There's nothing much that influences me from being a parent.
I think it's also made you more empathetic, and you now gravitate more toward family plot lines in general. Because, like, I don't think it affected me at all, because, I came from a big family, and I always wanted to be a mom.
Oh,
so it was
like
just always there.
Tony Stark and Spider-Man?
Yes, definitely. I have seen the change. You, like, care so much more about family plot lines now. Like, you never really gave two fucks before.
I don't know, but name an example.
I have brain fog. I can't name anything.
They don't exist. It does not
exist. Okay, an example, when you wrote Zelda fan fiction, Vincent, Claire, and Alistair were not close siblings at all.
Oh my god. I did it before.
Family. Yeah, but they weren't close. They were like they were alienated from each other. But now the sibling plot line you're writing, they're actually close siblings and they all love each other, and you're more interested in that dynamic. Whereas before, you just had three siblings who happened to be in the same story, and they each like branched off and had their own love interests, and like might as well have not been siblings.
Okay, but that's what's gonna happen now, except now they know each other.
Now they know each other. Look, you're just upset I had an example. So
sorry,
Matt said, yeah, I'm gonna really have to, oh wait, no. Referring to your child as a whip.
I just saw that in the comments. I was like, oh my god, that's awesome.
See, the other thing is my book cannot like make me feel things the way that my children can, because like I don't ever look at my writing or my book and just like get so happy that I could cry, or just like also think about the fact that it's gonna leave me in 18 years. But like I definitely do that with my children.
Yeah.
Also, my children shade me, which is very entertaining. Like, I'm trying to teach them the importance of daily hygiene and stuff, and so I was like, they brush their teeth and wash their faces in the morning. And Michael, one day, he asked what would happen if he didn't wash his face, and I was like, "Well, then you break out like mommy did." And he just goes, "Did you not wash your face?" And I'm like, I fell asleep in my makeup towel. What? Sir, the shade.
You messed up. You just
I
went
know, but
wrong.
I did not expect him to call me on it like that. So he's 9.
Yeah, he's smart enough. At 9, I was collecting Pokemon cards. It's almost close
Yeah,
enough.
I wasn't saying he was dumb. I was saying I didn't expect shade. That's a whole other situation.
Oh, I wish I had an example offhand, but yeah, my kids do that too, especially my middle child. Oh my gosh.
My life experiences do channel into my writing to a certain degree. Awesome. I'm looking to make sure we hit all the points.
Carrie H. Author said, Elizabeth, my mom would love that. And I think she's referencing when I said to like send the kids away for a year. Yeah. I think my mom would love it too, until like the first month was over, and then she'd be like, "Yeah, you want your kids back?"
Oh, my mother wouldn't. I love my mother. My mother's not the most maternal of people in the world.
Nah,
I
she
love
call
her,
up in like 2 hours.
she does that now.
She does that now.
Like during our anniversary week, we'll leave for 2 nights now. We'll get a hotel somewhere, and my mom, the like morning we're supposed to come back, a few times she'll call at like 9-10 in the morning. She's like, "When are you coming back?" And it's like, "We're gonna be back by noon." She's like, "I need to go home and sleep." So like,
yeah, like so my husband's mom and dad, they'll take the boys because they're like toilet trained and all that stuff because they're older. And so they'll take them and they'll take them for like a weekend. They'll be like, "All right, you guys can go home now. Bye." Like we're done with you. Whereas like my mom, she'll take them for like she'll take only one though. So she normally takes my daughter because no one else wants her because she's not toilet trained. We're struggling. And so she'll take her and she's like, "All right, I'm out of diapers. You can go home. Bye."
I know
Like
the feel, but the phrasing.
Yeah, it's just like, I'll take one child.
I will take
The one
one.
no one wants.
One, not another one. One.
And then my grandma and aunt, so they live together, and they'll take all 3. And like my grandma has the mentality of, "Oh yeah, we'll take them forever, right?" And so like I think we went away for like a week, and every day I would call up like, "Okay, are the kids being good?" and all that stuff. And I was only talking to my grandma, and she was like, "Oh yeah, they're angels, they're doing great." And then on our way home, we pick up the kids, right? And I'm talking to my aunt. She's like, "Never again." I'm just like, "Whoa, okay, all right." Yeah, and I'm like, "What did they do?" She's like, "They asked me to play video games like 5 times, and they don't have like any video games or like internet or anything." I'm just like, "Oh yeah, how'd that go?" And she's like, "They just kept asking and asking, and we don't have it." And they just kept going. And I'm like, "Yeah, they have this thing where they repeat the same question until they get the answer they want."
Oh no. Okay, so that is a thing that like that annoys my dad and it annoys me. So
Oh, it
like
annoys me too.
growing up, it was if you ask a question and it's a maybe, do not ask again because the maybe will turn to a no. And if
Yeah,
it's a
we're the
no
same
and
way.
you keep asking, you get grounded. So it's like no, that wouldn't.
Yeah, my oldest, he's struggling to understand that. I'm like, he'll ask me something and I'm like, "Okay, maybe in a bit." And then like 5 minutes later, he'll come back. He'll be like, "Oh, can we do this now?" I'm like, "Timmy, if you ask me again, I'm going to say no." And then he's like, "Please." And I'm like, "Okay, no, not anymore. Nope." And then he'll just keep going and please, please, please. And I'm like, "No, okay, you don't get it for the rest of the week." "No, I'm sorry." I'm like, "Oh, then leave. Please leave. Go to your room and play for a little bit, please."
Our middle one is very diplomatic sometimes with his like things, because it's like, you will be punished, and he'll sit there, and it's like you can see him weighing whether the punishment is worth it, and I'm like, child, why did you inherit that from me? Because I used to do the same thing to my mom, and I'm like, no, of all the things for you to have inherited, no, not that one.
My middle child, he likes to bargain. So I'll be like, hey Hunter, I'll make a deal with you. And he's like, all right. And he like leans in, he's all curious. And I'm like, all right, if you guys go play quietly for half an hour until I call you, you can play the Xbox till dinner. And he's like, deal, and then runs away. And I'm like, this is what I like to deal with. I like to make the deals.
So the one thing about this, though, is that my mother and my aunt are very bad at saying no. So if you bugged them, it would turn into a yes, but not if father was home. If dad was home, it would turn into a no real fast. But also, if I don't answer quick enough, like within a minute, they run away screaming, okay, that's a yes. I mean, that's fair, though. He's also obsessed with times. So if I say later, he'll be like, how later? How many hours? What time? And I'm like, sir, I gave you a vague answer for a reason. I don't know.
Yeah, like if my kids do that, I'm like, okay, when I call you, they'll be like, all right. And then they'll go, and if I take too long, then they'll like come back and just like very skittishly be like, is it almost time? And I'll be like, okay, 20 more minutes. And they're like, okay. And then they'll go. They don't know how long that is, but they go, and they're like, okay, she's going to call us in 20 minutes. And if I don't, then there's like hell to pay.
Ours learned to read a clock just for that.
Yeah. Mine so far, they can read the hours, but they don't quite understand the minutes. So I have to be like, okay, at like 9:20. Okay, we got this.
All right, so I think we hit on everything then that we were gonna. Excuse me. I want the specifics. Let me apply. My children ask for the specifics because they know I have brain fog, so they know that I may forget, and they want to justifiably be able to bug me at that time. I have figured that out. That is why he does it. But all right, so that's all of our talking points and the things. So we'll go ahead and do the outros, my good people. Sir, we're not Doug.
Yeah, we are. That'd be amazing. I'm Patty Mayonnaise, and this is Nickelodeon. Right, so I'm Chris Calavera. I'm writer, dad, and all around dork. And you may follow me on my Insta and my Twitter. No YouTube because I don't do video thingy. And that's
find him on my channel though.
Yeah. Follow me for beard grooming tips. Don't.
Oh, beard grooming. I was like, for what?
You can find. I'm Elizabeth Duivenvoorde. I'm a mom and very unknown author. You can follow me on my YouTube, which is my name. Right? Oh, where am I? Right this way. Right over here. Elizabeth Duivenvoorde. I am on Instagram and Facebook as Eliza Duivenvoorde, and I think I don't go on Twitter often, but it's like at @author_Eliza D, and then like Reddit and all that stuff is all like Eliza Duivenvoorde. So.
And I am writing Mom Samantha Nasset. This is my channel where I talk about writer things, parent things, and writer parent things. I host live streams like this on Mondays. Next week, we're having what I'm starting as the quarterly party, where we're just going to hang out and maybe play some Jeopardy and do other things. It's going to be a blast. Who is with me next week? Sophie and CB should be there. And I have a Ko-fi down below if you would like to help support the channel or just buy me coffee because I like coffee. I have a newsletter where you can keep up to all things Sam, which you can sign up for at samanthaalnasset.com, where you can also keep up to, you can stalk my progress on my projects. And I think that's it. Maybe like and subscribe. I'm 4 away from 500. That would be awesome if I could hit that. So yeah, that's everything. And we will see y'all later. Bye.